Good afternoon, student of taxation. So today's video, we're going to discuss how to file and let's understand what are the contents of our income tax return for individual, which is BIR Form 1701. Okay, so let's start from the browser. So let's log in into the website of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So that's www.bir.gov.ph. Okay, so on the menu bar or home page of BIR website, you can see that there are lots of options. So please check or click the use BIR e-services. So guys, for filers, for taxpayer individual income tax filers, we have two options how to file your income tax. First is through the electronic filing payment system, or what we call EFPS. So this is the electronic filing and payment system, is the electronic processing and transmission of tax return information, including attachments and taxes due thereon, to the government made over to the internet through the BII website. And the other one is the BIR Forms, which is the electronic Bureau of Internal Revenue Forms, or BIR Forms, was developed primarily to provide taxpayers with an alternative mode of preparing and filing the income tax return that is easier and more convenient. So guys, on the brink of technology, the BIR also develops payment facilities that would use the internet in filing. So the only difference between EFPS and BIR form is that EFPS is a electronic mode of filing and also payment. Take note, this is an electronic payment filing and also payment. Thus, it is necessary for the for the taxpayer to register its income with the EFPS facility of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. And also, it is a must that you have to link this account to your banks, accredited depository banks or government servicing banks, as the case may be. So let's try EFPS. So upon clicking your EFPS, you will be directed to the EFPS login. So since I don't have any access to the EFPS website, so let's discuss lang what are the necessary steps or necessary item that you need before you can avail or you can use the EFPS facility of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So that is, you have to register your TIN, or you have a TIN, then you will register your business in the EFPS facility. Okay? If you have your TIN and your username and password, so guys, you can log in to the website of the BIR. So I will no longer discuss how to file through EFPS, but the difference between EFPS and BIR form is that BIR forms, you have to file or you have to send your accomplished BIR return through an email. Okay? So we will discuss that later. But for BIR EFPS facility, so you will encode your income tax return online through their facilities. Then after which, you can pay your income tax due using the same facility based on your bank, which is which is accredited by the Bureau of Internal Revenue EFPS. Okay, so let's discuss the BIR forms. Okay, so for BIR forms, okay, so it is actually there is an offline BIR package which is provided by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So let's download it. Okay, then after which, install. Okay, install. Okay, just follow the installation. Okay, finish. We're through. So we have to check uh, in our in our computer the installed system. Okay? Okay, ano siya. So, kindly create ano na lang, desktop shortcut. Okay? So, we can go over this one. So, click the BIR, created BIR shortcut. Okay? So, guys, take note, this is an offline system. So, all you have to do is to set up. Okay? So, if you have TIN as a taxpayer, so kindly indicate your TIN or register your TIN. Okay, select the RDO. So let's, for the purpose, so take note guys, then the system recognize that the PIN is unregistered or non-existing since it is provided that you have encoded an incorrect PIN. So let's try lang to to proceed for the purpose of discussion. Okay, like for example, take note the taxpayer's name is, so registered name address. This is just for the purpose of illustration, guys. Okay, email address. So it is important, guys, the email address because it will be the email address that will send the accomplished BIR returns. Okay, so this time there are list of BIR returns that available for fill up based or so you can use what is applicable. So for this for the purpose of this discussion, we will accomplish BIR Form 1701. So fill up. Okay. So after that, guys, since the system would allow us to use for illustration purpose the EBIR form package, so you can the result of this one is the same with the downloaded BIR form. So the downloaded BIR form. Okay, we can download a BIR form that is BIR form 1701. Okay, 1701. Okay, okay, nice. So you can download how to register. Actually, we have already accomplished that, but the problem is I don't have a TIN that can be used for the purpose of discussion. Okay? So take note. All right. Take note that the same income tax return or BIR form 1701 that will be going to presented in after clicking the fill up portion, this one, but the box is available for your information for that particular taxable year. Okay, take note. Okay. So after accomplishing your BIR Form 1701, the relief or the EBIR Form package version 7.9.2 will allow you guys to create a soft copy of your BIR return, and that soft copy will be sent to the website of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. After which, you have to print. You have to print your accomplished BIR Form 1701, and the same will be paid to your bank of choice. Okay? After that, after paying, so your bank or the bank on which you made your payment is the one to forward the paid copy or the received copy of your BIR Form 1701. So unlike before guys, you have to line physically in the in the office of the Bureau of Internal Revenue in order to file and pay your your BIR form 1701 or your income tax return. Okay, so let's go now to the discussion on what are the contents and what are the important things that we need to discuss with regards to the filing of BIR form 1701. Okay? So the same return na makita nyo to guys sa relief, kaso lang may mga blank portion lang to that you can encode your details. Then uh, the BIR relief package will generate a format that is compatible with the format of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So therefore, you have a soft copy or you have an electronic copy submitted to the BIR if you're going to use your e-package. So for EFPS, automatically it will be received by the BIR through their website, and automatically your payment will be credited to your bank. So that's the difference between e-BIR form and e-package. Okay, or electronic BIR form. Okay, so that's the difference. You have two options uh, with regards to the filing of BIR Form 1701 or any other BIR return. Okay? So let's discuss BIR Form 1701. So this return is downloaded on the website of the BIR. Okay, so BIR Form 1701 or known as the Annual Income Tax Return. So individuals including mixed income earners, based on our discussion, okay? So the same return that we're going to use even though the taxpayer is earning business income plus compensation income. Okay? So for this X mark guys, if you're using EBIR form, it is automatic. Once you have selected the option, the X mark will automatically indicate on the box that of your choice. Okay? If there are options nga gina-require ang return. Okay, so let's start. Number one, this is information number one pertains to the year of or the taxable year on which you are filing. Okay, so that's year 2021 as the case may be. Number two, you are asked if this is an amended return because guys, the first filing will be considered as the original filing, and subsequently after you file BIR Form 1701 within the same taxable year, automatically it will become an amended return if you are utilizing PS or EBIR forms. But in the case of manual filing, if ever that the BIR will allow you to make a manual filing, so you have to indicate X mark. Then third, the question is short period return. So obviously, if this is not the first BIR return or the last BIR return, you will consider this one as or you will mark the box no. Because when we say short period return, it is a return which is less than the 12-month period. Okay? So, it is only applicable, ang yes na mark will be applicable if the BIR return is only good for months or good for period less than 12 months. Okay, number 4, we have your tax identification number. Okay, so this is unique to each individual and also to corporation. Okay, so maintaining two or more tax identification number is illegal. Okay, so please take note. So please be careful. You have to maintain only one TIN. Okay, so that's unique to every individual as well as to the corporation. Okay, so for your TIN, that is a 9-digit number. Okay, and the last 5 digit will be considered as the branch code. If ever your company or your business is maintaining a two or more branches, so the RDO or the agency on which the head office is located, or the BIR on which on the BIR on which the jurisdiction of your head office is within the jurisdiction of that RDO, so the branches also will be under that particular RDO. So, madugang lang ninyo branch code, guys. So, when we say 0000, it means that you are filing for the head office. So, if it is a branch code, so you have to consolidate it. Okay? But the return would be represented by a separate number which is not 000 because this is your branch code. So for branch number 1, that's 1. For branch number 2, that's 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, number 5 information will be your RDO code. So it depends on which BIR office you are under with, or you are within the jurisdiction of a certain BIR office. Okay? So in Binalbagan, that is RDO 078. So kindly search it in the internet. It is available. The information is available in the internet. Number 6, tax type. Okay? So you have to indicate what is the type of taxpayer filing. If it is single, proprietor, if you are practicing a profession, if this is an estate or the income of the estate or a trust, so you have to indicate. Then, if it is a compensation earner. 6. So, the alphanumeric tax code or the ATC. So, you have to indicate what is your ATC. Okay? So, for compensation income, this is the ATC. You have to check or to put an X mark on the box indicated for compensation income. Or if you are earning business and subject to graduated income tax rate, so you have to put X mark on this one. So you have to select only one, okay, out of the 7 options. So for this business income, subject to 8% based on our discussion. So there are rules or condition before we can select the 8% income tax rate. So kindly review our previous discussions. Okay, so in that case, you will put an X mark on this box. So for income from profession, so you are practicing your profession, that's 014. For income from profession but subject to 8%, that's 17. For mixed income earner graduated, okay, mixed income earner graduated, that's 13. Mixed income earner subject to 8% income tax rate. So you have to put or you have to indicate on which ATC you belong based on your earnings, based on your income. Okay, number 8, this is very important, the name of the taxpayer. So you have to uh, check on each spaces the letter or the spelling of your last name, then comma, space the first name, comma, space the middle name. Okay? For estate, you have to slash the first name, middle name, and last name of the deceased individual, which is the income of its estate is the one that you are computing for the income tax due. So you have to indicate the last name, middle name, and first name, last name, and middle name and last name of that individual. For trust, so you have to slash trust or slash FAO, FAO. The meaning of FAO is for the account of, okay? Then the first name, middle name, and last name. So indicate it, uh, the registered address. Actually, guys, this information is no longer filled up if you are using BIR, if you are using the relief, because it was already registered from it was already set up before you can accomplish any return if you are using the EBIR package. Okay? So, this information is already automatically filled up by the EBIR package of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Okay, so next, the date of birth, email, so citizenship, claiming foreign credit. So you have to put an X mark on the information which is applicable to the taxpayer, then the tax number if that is a foreign individual or foreigner or an alien, then contact number, then the civil status if applicable. Okay? So before, guys, before the implementation of train law, and somewhere in 2000, prior to 2010, it is important to properly identify the civil status because each civil status represents different basic exemption. But at the times goes by, as the time the laws was amended, there's no indication, there's no effect in the computation whether your civil status is single, married, legally separated, because all of the taxpayer is claiming a fixed deduction of 250,000. That is based on the graduated income tax table. Okay? So you have to indicate if married. If married, is it joint filing or separate filing? So we have already discussed this one on our previous videos. So if it is an exempted from taxation, okay? So if you are claiming a special or preferential rate, so you have to check yes. If you are claiming, if you are subject to special or preferential rate, and no if you are under or subject to normal taxation. Okay, so next, number 21, the tax rate that is graduated or in lieu or 8% in lieu of graduated income tax rate. So we have already discussed what taxpayers that can avail the 8% income tax rate. So kindly review our discussion on the rules on how to claim 8% income tax rate. Then this one, the recently concluded topic is the depreciation method of deduction. So you can choose either itemize, and in lieu of itemize, we have optional standard deduction. Okay, so important thing to remember is that on the first quarter of filing your 1701Q, that is the time that you have to indicate your selected method of deduction. Okay? In short, on the subsequent filing, that's 1701Q for first quarter, second quarter, and this one, the income tax or the annual income tax return, you have to follow what you have, your choice on the first quarter. Okay? Depende na da if this is itemized or optional. So in case that you did not uh, select optional standard deduction or neither itemized deduction, so the rule is that you are availing itemized deduction because OSD is just in lieu of itemized deduction. So if you are selecting, if you want to choose OSD, kindly indicate it on your BIR Form 1701 first quarter. Okay, so the first page, that is the summary of your payment or your income tax due. Take note, guys, if you are availing joint, joint filing, So the name of the taxpayer is the filer, okay? The column A is for the filer or for the taxpayer, and letter B is for his or her spouse. It does not necessarily mean this is for the husband and this is for the wife. It depends on who is the filer, okay? So generally, that's for husband, but that is not the only rule. There's an exception. Okay, letter number 22. So we have your tax dues. Take note, guys, your tax due on item number 22 came from part 6, item number 4, 5. Thus, part 6, item number 5, we can find the detailed computation on how or where does the amount of tax due came from. So we can check this later from part 6, item number 5. Okay, so less tax credit or payment, which is item number 7, part number 7, item number 5. Then the difference would be, take note guys, the formula is already given. That's item number 22 less item number 23. So the result will be either tax payable or overpayment. Whichever is higher, say lang aduwa. If tax due is higher than the tax credit or payment, so the result will be tax payable. If the tax due is lesser compared to the tax credit and payment, so the result will be overpayment. So your overpayment can be used or allowed as credit for next year's income tax payment. Okay? So portion of tax allowable since, okay, so kindly refer that later. The amount tax payable, okay? So you have to add it up if there are penalties, surcharge, or compromise. So the total penalties, that's 27 to 29. So the total payable or overpayment in this one. Take note guys, that at the last portion, which is the aggregate amount payable or overpayment, there's only one one space to fill up for the amount because this is an aggregate. That's why as we in our discussion on previous meeting, although husband and wife is computing their separate or individual income tax return separately, but at the end they can combine their amount to be paid to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and that is what we call aggregate amount. So take note guys, there's an option provided. So to be refunded or to be issued a tax credit certificate and to be carried as tax credit for next year. So my advice is that choose this one to be carried over as tax credit for the next year or quarter. Because guys, there's too much requirement before an amount can be released to the taxpayer. Okay? So just select this one. Okay. So guys, take note that it is very important that before signing you have to know this tawag na, this statement. I declare under the penalties of perjury that this return and all its attachment have been made in good faith, verified by me, and to the best of my knowledge and belief, and through incorrect pursuant to the provisions of the National Internal Revenue Code as amended, and the regulations issued under the authority thereof. Further, I gave my consent to the processing of my information as contemplated under the data privacy of RA 10173 for the legitimate lawful purpose. Okay? So the signature would be the name of the signature of the taxpayer, and take note, it can be signed by your authorized representative. Okay? So the payment details below. So this is no longer applicable if you are using or if you are filing through BIR EFPS facility. Okay? Sige. So next, page 2. Page 2. This is for the TIN of the taxpayer and the tax filer's last name. Okay? So this information pertains to his spouse. If ever they are joint filing as joint filers, okay? If the filing is, if joint filing is not applicable, so therefore this is separate filing in case of husband and wife, they were filing separately, so this information is no longer applicable, or this part is no longer applicable. Okay, so next, part 5. This is the computation of income tax. Okay, so Schedule 1, gross compensation income and tax withheld. So based on our discussion on previous meetings or previous sessions, we all know that if the taxpayer is a mixed income earner, you have to compute again for your gross compensation income as well as the tax withheld for employee. Why? Because especially if you are availing, if you are subject to graduated income tax rate. Okay? So you have to combine your business income and your compensation income in order to arrive at your taxable income subject to graduated income tax rate, and the amount you have paid through withholding by your employer in case of your salaries and other taxable compensation sa imong employer will be considered as tax withheld lang. Okay? As tax withheld. Okay? So for that, you will uh, name the employer of your the employer of the taxpayer on the first row, and on the second row, the name of the employer of your spouse, that's letter A, and second, the employer's TIN. Okay, on this side, the employer's TIN of your spouse, as the case may be. Next is the amount of compensation for the taxpayer, that's this one. And number 2 is the compensation income of your spouse if this is a joint filing. Then, next column would be the tax withheld. So your tax withheld should be uh, supported by your BIR Form 2316. Remember? Your BIR Form 2316. So are only if you are only an employee and there's no other source of income, or there are no other taxable income, just your salaries and other taxable compensation or other benefits, so your BIR Form 2316 is also already considered as your income tax return. Okay? Because of what we call ng substituted filing. Okay? We have already discussed what is substituted filing. But in the case of mixed income earner, you have to consider the amount withheld as a creditable withholding tax. So if it is considered as creditable withholding tax, you have to declare it in this column. Okay, for taxpayer, and next is for the spouse. Okay, so take note, guys. Um, the spaces provided for each rows is good as 9-digit. So you have to exclude the decimal point. Okay? The rules of the BIR for decimal is that 50 centavo above should be round up into 1 peso, and 49 centavo below will be considered as will be drop. Okay? Will be drop from the filing or from the computation. Okay, letter A, next is 3A, compensation, income, and total tax withheld for the taxpayer. This one is gross income and total tax withheld for the spouse. Take note, guys, this is from Part B, Schedule number 2, Item 4B, and Item 7B. Okay? So kindly refer, we have to refer that later. That's part 5, schedule 2. This one. And ang tax withheld is part 7, item number 5B. Okay. So next, this is your schedule 2. So the amount which is declared on this column is from this one. Okay? So you have to fill up the gross compensation income for taxpayer and gross compensation income for spouse, then less non-taxable or exempted compensation. So what is referred in this non-taxable or exempted compensation is those taxable benefit that does not exceed the threshold of 90,000. So this should be declared. The 90,000, it should be declared in this row for taxpayer and for his spouse if it is a joint filing. So the difference, 4 minus 5 will be your taxable compensation income, and your tax due so will be taken actually from your BIR Form 2316, but you can check the computation using the applicable income tax rate on our graduated income tax table. Okay? Sige. Schedule number 3. So, schedule number 3 for mixed income earner would be your taxable business income. Take note if graduated rates fill up the items for 8 to 24. Okay? So, this information is for item number for for uh, taxpayers opted the graduated rates. Okay? Opted the graduated rates. If the taxpayer is availing the 8% flat income tax rate, so all you have to do is to fill up only items 25 to 30. Okay? This one. 25 to item number 30. Okay. Ang wala ning ifilapan mo if you are availing the 8% flat income tax rate. Okay? So, refer who are the taxpayers that can avail the 8% flat income tax rate. Okay, so let's proceed first. Let's discuss first the business income for taxpayers availing graduated rates. Okay? So if you have noticed that the formula or the format is just the same with the income statement, lain lang ang format or ang pag-present. But ang flow or ang order sa mga account title is the same with your income statement. So we have your sales, receipts, revenues, receipts or fees, whichever is applicable, less your sales return, allowance, and discount, whichever is applicable. The same amount da, fill up mo na da. So the difference would be your net sales or receipts. That is from item number 8 minus item number 9. So less your cost of sale or cost of services, applicable only if availing itemized deduction. Please take note. Okay? So if you are availing the 40% optional standard deduction, you are not required to fill up item number 11. Okay? Item number 11. So item number 12 is the result of item 10 minus 11. So may mga formula guys. So hindi ka gid magtalang if you understand how to interpret the formula, because the format or the BIR return itself indicates how or where the values or amount came from. Okay, so this is the result of item 10 minus item 11 daw. Okay, next, less your deduction allowable under existing laws. So that is ordinary allowable itemized deduction. So we will deal that later. So the information came from part 5, schedule number 4, item number 18. So let's check what are those. Part 5, schedule number 4. Ano siya? So part 5, schedule number 4 are operating expenses in our accounting. Okay, remember? These are operating expenses. Okay? So total ordinary allowable itemized deduction. So you have to sum up from item number 1 to item number 17. And this amount is considered as the total ordinary allowable itemized deduction. Okay, so going back in our discussion, we are on this one. So whatever amount on item number 18 should be tally with the amount on filled up on item number 13, setting aside. Okay, number 14, special allowable itemized deduction. So there are two classification of your itemized deduction. One is ordinary and the other one is special. So that's part number 5, schedule 5, item number 3, and or item number 6. So let's proceed sa part 5, schedule 5. Schedule 4. Okay, this is your schedule 5. So if any other allowable itemized deduction, you have to add it up. Okay, you have to consider the taxpayer filer description. This is for the taxpayer. So you have to describe what is that kind of special allowable itemized deduction, and you have to state the legal basis, the Republic Act, the law, or any other legal proof for your claim and the amount of your allowable deduction. And this one is for your spouse. Okay? So the figure in this row and the figure in this row is the same or forwarded to item number this one. Item number 14. So mo to dapat parehas na sila. So guys, the important thing is um, page 2 of our BIR form because this is the detailed computation. So page 3 and below are just supporting schedules. Okay? So we are on page 2. Next, allowable for net operating loss carryover or NOLCO. Okay? So let's proceed to schedule 6, item 8 to 13. Schedule 6. Part 5, schedule 6. Schedule 6. Okay, so this portion is for NOLCO. Okay, 6A, computation of NOLCO. We have your gross income, then the ordinary allowable deduction, and the net operating loss. Okay, this is the computation of your NOLCO. So your NOLCO, on the next page, that's 6A1, Tyler, detailed computation of available NOLCO. So take note guys, there is a year of operating loss. So in our illustration, year 2002, as the case may be, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. Okay, just in case that there is a 4-year consecutive that the company is suffering losses. So the amount of NOLCO, okay? Then the NOLCO applied in previous years. So it's like a ledger, okay? You have to consider that on this column. Ang nagamit nga NOLCO, okay? Like for example, if we are filing for income tax return for the year 2021, okay? So your NOLCO for year 2019, butang ta, that's 100,000. Hindi ka fill up, di? 100,000. So you have to, on the year 2020, sa 100,000, 50,000 ang gingamit. Okay, 50,000 ang net income. So in short, on the year 2020, zero ang aton nga taxable income. Wala ta maging bayaran nga tax. But we have already applied 50,000 of NOLCO on year 2021. So ibutang mo din 50,000. No? So expired is zero. So the NOLCO applied for this year. You considered mo na de. Okay? So, dapat i-separate mo ang years of your NOLCO. 24, that's row number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So, if ever, maging claim ka nga NOLCO for 2019, maging claim ka nga NOLCO for 2020, for 2021 nga NOLCO nga na-incurred sa 2022, maging claim ka, you have to sum up the amount and you have to indicate the amount in this space provided. Okay? So letter E is just a running balance of your NOLCO. Okay? That's letter A minus B minus C minus D. So in short, amo na lang ning bilin sang NOLCO mo that you can use next year. This column that you can not use for next year's income tax filing. Okay, what you have used for this year is this one. Hindi nga column. Okay? So you have to, the same figure will be forwarded on our computation in page 2. Page 2. Okay? Ito man. Are. So that would be item number 15. Amo to siyang explain ko. You have to indicate the amount computed or earlier in this space provided for taxpayer and for the spouse. Okay? Number 16 will be the total allowable itemized deduction. That would be the sum of your item number 13, your itemized deduction. Item number 14, if ever you are allowed for a special deduction, then your NOLCO. Okay? This one. So guys, in special item, allowable itemized deduction, you can claim that ang ging discuss natin nga additional training expenses. So in my opinion, professional opinion, your additional training expenses will be considered a special allowable itemized deduction. And your legal basis should be the create law. Okay? The create law. Okay, next. So this is the total allowable itemized deduction. That's item 13, 14, 15. Take note, or if you are availing optional standard deduction, you are not required to fill up this information. Natural, because you have choose OSD. So hindi mo na kailangan i-fill up ang highlight ko. Okay? Pati nga itong number 11. So this is just for OSD. Okay, number 11 is for the purpose of OSD. Okay, this is for OSD. If you are availing optional standard deduction, your the format is very simple. One column lang. Take note, ano kanong hambalya? Ano kanong hambalya? It is just the 40% of it is just the 40% of item number 10. What is item number 10? Item number 10 is this one. Okay? Your net sales revenue, receipts, and fees. That is your item number 10. So whatever amount filled up or computed in this column, 40% of that should be presented or filled up in this space sa diri nga box. Okay? Same is true with your spouse. Sa piyak naman nga column ang spouse. So the difference of your item number 16 and or item number 17 versus item number 12. Item number 12, gross income should be your net income or loss. Okay? Amo ning pinaka-last. Next, this is not yet the taxable income because below, there is an additional non-operating income which is subject to tax. So you have to identify what is that other non-operating income. So there are space provided, that's item number 19 and number 20. So you have to fill up. So if ever that is gain from sale of computer which is not subject to any other special taxes, so you can declare that on number 19. If may pagid ka nga other non-operating income, so you have to present that. So a space provided or a blank space provided for that particular non-other operating income. So take note, specify below. Okay, so the amount. Okay, so number 21, amount received share income from a partner from a GPP. Take note guys, amount received or share in net income from the partner from by a partner from a general professional partnership because ang taxation or ang income taxation for GPP is on the distributive share of each partner and not on the partnership. So dapat wala nag-tax. Dapat ginataksan ang GPP because ang tax is after the GPP has distribute the share of each partner. That's why you have to include that as part of your other non-operating income. Then the total non-operating income, that is item number 21. Kung ano man na ang imo nga available nga ano na gani nga other operating income plus the amount received in share by a partner from a GPP. So that is your total non-operating. So your taxable income business is the sum of your item number 18. Are? Okay, sales less your itemized deduction less OSD. But if ever you are using using optional standard deduction. Okay. Next, number 25 is the tax due plus kano guys, plus item number ano pala tagalog number 23. Okay, that's item number 18 or number 22. And sorry, this one net income plus your non-operating income, that is your number 23. Next is we have your total taxable income compensation in business, that's item number 23, bago lang yung compute, plus item number 6. Item number 6 is your compensation income from your employment. So this dito item number 6. Item number 6 is your total compensation income. Okay? You have to include that. Then number 25, that is your compensation income and business income under graduated income tax rate. Okay? So if you're using 8% income tax rate, hindi na asta ka lang dapat sa wala ka dapat fill upan nga schedule number 3. Okay? So, your schedule number 3 is dapat vacant. Okay? Dapat waay ni unod if you are using 8% income tax option. Okay? So, let's proceed. Okay. So, if you are under the 8% flat income tax rate option, so the portion of the ITR that you have to fill up is item 3B. Okay? Amo siya dapat ang aton i-fill up. So, what are the information provided? One is sales, revenues, receipt, fees, as the case may be. So, you take note, it is net of sales return and allowances and discount. So, the discount, allowances, and returns was no longer presented on the portion for 8% flat income tax rate. Then, you have to add as well your non-operating income. Then, that is your total income. That's 26 plus 27. Then less your allowable reduction from the receipts and other non-operating income of purely self-employed individuals and or professionals in the amount of 250. Not applicable if with compensation income. Okay? If with compensation income, this is not applicable. Okay? So for practitioner or for taxpayers earning business income and wala siya sang compensation income, you can claim 250,000. Okay? But if you are employed and at the same time doing business which is subject to 8% income tax rate, you have to put 0. You are no longer allowed to deduct the fixed deduction of 250. Why? Because it was already claimed during the computation of your compensation income. Okay? So if you have compensation income subject to tax, then you have business or profession, this portion should be 0. if you are only earning business or professional income, that's the time you can fill up 250,000 in this portion. Okay, next, item number 30, taxable income or loss. That's item number 28 minus item number 29. Okay, so number 31. So item 30 multiplied by 8% flat income tax rate. So this one, whatever amount computed in this portion, multiply it by 8%, and that is the answer for item number 31. Okay? Next is number 32, total tax due compensation business income under flat rate. So obviously that is your compensation income part number 6, item 1. Okay? Item 1 plus your item number 31. Ari siya. Okay? So your, sorry, parts, sum of item 7 and item 31. Ang item 31 is ang 8% naging compute naton nga tax due. So 8%, sorry, taxable income times 8%, amo na di siya. I-plus mo na siya together with your item number, ano to kano? Item number 7, ariyo, ang tax sa imo nga sweldo. So you have to add it up with item number, sorry, with item number 31, and that would be your total tax due for compensation income. Take note guys, it is highlighted that it would go to your part 6 item number 1. So balikan kadtuan ta. Let's proceed to this portion, part 6 item number 1. Part 6, where are you? Part 6. What is part 6 item number 1? Okay, part 6 item number 1, summary of your income tax due. Okay, so based on your computation, halin to gina sa item number 32. So you have to copy the figure this and provide it on this column or in this row, I rather. Then your special rate, which is from item part 6, if there are applicable nga mga special rates. Then your share of other government agencies remitted directly to the agency, you have to deduct it. Then your special rate. Okay, so then the total income tax due. So item number 1 and 4, it will go to part number 2. Okay, please take note part number 2. Please take note part number 2. Ay, part number 2. Actually, that is ang sa first page. Part number 2. Okay? Part number 2. Okay? Item number 22. So, ang tax due on your item 22 came from part number 6. 6. Okay. Part number 6, number 5. Okay. Nakita nyo man. Hambalya item 32 ko no. 22 gali. Okay? So next is part 7, that is tax credit payment. So we have your prior's excess credit. Just in case on last year's nimo nga, for example, this is the return for 2021, kagang result sa imo nga last year nga filing is negative. Dili sa part number 2, nag-overpayment ka. So ang overpayment mo ginano mo kano to be carried over as tax credit for next year or next quarter. So in short, on your item number 7, in your item number 7, okay, in your item or your part number 7, I mean, ang imo nga income tax return last year would be your proof, okay, would be your proof. And that is your, this one, okay, prior year's excess credit, last year mong last year. So, diri mo siya i-prove butang sa imo attachment. Then, number 2 nga item is tax payment for the first 3 quarters. So, your proof would be your BIR Form 1701Q for first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. Then, next is your tax credit withheld for the first 3 quarters. So, whatever BIR Form 2307, BIR Form 2307, isum up mo na siya guys, kag amo na ding amount ni butang mo. Your BIR Form 2307 is the proof, I mean, that ang naghatag sa imo sang income, or kundi inhalin ang imo income or the income at source, like for example, if it came from your client withheld either 2% or 10%, whichever is applicable, kag wala naging ging hatag sa imo as payment, but instead ging withheld yan na, and your the income at source is the one that remit it to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, so you have to sum it up, and that would be your creditable withholding tax withheld for the first 3 quarters. So BIR Form 2307 from January up to September should be compiled and sum up, and the amount should be declared or should be filled up in this space provided. Okay? Number 4 is your creditable withholding tax per BIR Form 237. So, as I discussed earlier, number 3 items, item number 3 and item number 4 are the same. These are from BIR Form through 2307. The only difference between item number 3 is it is the BIR Form 2307 from January up to September, and October up to December will be on item number 4. Okay? Next is creditable withholding tax per BIR Form 2306. If ever if ever that the taxpayer is an employee, at the same time a business owner or a practitioner, so ang sweldo ya guys from his employer may withheld na to, di ba? And the proof of the withholding and payment is BIR Form 2316. That's why you have to deduct this one, because the amount withheld from your salary is already paid. It is considered as paid. That's why you have to deduct it. Okay? So take note guys, it should be jive with what you have declared in your part number 5, schedule number 1. So, andito siya. That's 3AD and 3BD. Okay, let's check. Part 5. Part 5. Part 5. Okay, ari siya. So, in your 3AB, ari siya. The amount, dali kayo. Dali nga portion for the taxpayer, kag dali nga portion for the spouse. The same amount kayong declare mo okay, should be copied from your and filled up on this one, BIR Form 2316. Okay? Next, tax paid in previously filed if it is an amended return. So guys, if this return is the amended return, so whatever amount paid in previous filing on the original filing should be deducted. Okay? Since this is the original filing or the first filing of BIR tax return for taxable year 2021, so this portion is not applicable. So it is only applicable for amended return. Next, if there are foreign tax credit, if applicable, special tax credit, if also applicable, and other tax credit. So you have to prove if these are applicable, because these are special deductions from your tax due, or these are tax credit. So number 10, i-total mo ang tanan ng mga deduction from your tax due from item 1 up to item 9. Actually, part 7 is the summary of your tax payments or credits and payments.
and this amount for taxpayer, and this amount for the spouse will be provided to part number 2, item number 23. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the first page is just the summary of what you have declared in detail in the previous parts or schedules. Okay? Amo ni siya dapat ang 4 part mo. Dito to siya halin. Ha? Dito to siya halin. Okay? So, pink. Dito to siya halin. Sa pink. Okay, dito na salin. Next is part number 8. Actually, we had not yet reached this portion, mga tax relief, because it was scheduled to be discussed on the last months or last chapter of our syllabus. Okay, so I will reserve this discussion na lang next na lang when we reach the actual topic, mga special tax relief as well as exemptions. Okay? Then we also, since guys, especially there are for income, there are income declared in the income statement while it is not taxable in the income tax return. So that's the thing that you have to reconcile between your income from your books or from your income statement in order to arrive at your not taxable income. So this portion is for the reconciliation of amount declared or under the accounting standards or under your income statement or under the statement of financial performance versus on what amount allowed or taxable under tax laws and what expenses is considered as allowable deductions under tax laws. So the difference should be presented in this portion of the income tax return. And lastly, there are tables applicable for the computation of our income tax due. We have already discussed how to use this graduated income tax table. So for our filing, BIR form uh, 1701 for the taxable year 2021, this is the table that we're going to use, this one. Okay? But subsequently, after after we reach or for taxable year 2023 and onward, this will be the tax rates that is applicable. Okay? So, after this, after you have accomplished your BIR Form 1701, so the amount that would be declared in this area should be paid if it is payable. And if it is overpayment should be carried over next year as my professional advice. So it should be carried over next year. Then, if you are using EBIR forms, the fully filled up BIR return will be, the facility will generate a code or a format that is readable on the part of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So you need to submit it online through an email. Okay? So you have to attach the generated format of the EBIR form. Then you have to print it. After printing, you have to pay it in a bank that is authorized by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So if you are using uh, EFPS, automatically the amount in this portion will be credited to the bank account or to the bank account that you have registered in your electronic filing and payment system or EFPS. So it will be automatically credited. So take note, if you are using EFPS, always maintain before filing, you have to make sure that the balance is enough. to cover your aggregate amount payable or your income tax due. So that's the end. Okay? So that's the end of our discussion on how to file and how to fill up your BIR Form 1701 for individual taxpayers. So, see you next.
Until next time, God
video.
bless. Bye bye.